The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room as I sat at the kitchen table, sipping my morning coffee. It was a typical Thursday, or so I thought. As I shuffled through the pile of paperwork scattered before me, my eyes landed on a folder tucked away at the back of the drawer. Intrigued, I pulled it out, my fingers grazing the smooth surface. "What's this?" I muttered to myself, flipping it open. Inside, I found a stack of documents, monthly statements from Hazel's personal account. My brow furrowed in confusion. Why would Hazel have a separate folder for her finances? We'd always shared everything, or so I believed. "Hey, honey, have you seen the home insurance renewal notice?" I called out, hoping Hazel might have some insight. Hazel emerged from the bedroom, a hint of surprise in her eyes as she glanced at the folder in my hands. "No, I haven't seen it. What's that you're looking at?" I hesitated, unsure how to broach the subject. "I found this folder with some of your financial statements. I didn't realize you had a separate account." Hazel's expression shifted, her features momentarily clouded with unease before she composed herself. "Oh, that? It's just some personal stuff. Nothing important." But her dismissive tone only fueled my curiosity. Ignoring her attempt to downplay it, I continued to sift through the documents, my heart pounding with each revelation. "What's going on, Owen?" Hazel's voice cut through the silence, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. I'm not sure," I admitted, my gaze still fixed on the papers before me. "There's a withdrawal here for $3,000. When did you need that much money, Hazel?" Hazel's hesitation was palpable, her eyes darting away as she struggled to find an explanation. It's nothing really, just some unexpected expenses." But her words rang hollow, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than she was letting on. As doubts gnawed at my mind, I knew one thing for certain: this discovery was only the beginning of a journey that would unravel the fabric of our marriage. After the unsettling discovery of Hazel's mysterious financial transactions, I found myself consumed by a relentless need for answers. With each passing day, my suspicions grew, casting a shadow over the once peaceful facade of our marriage. Determined to uncover the truth, I spent countless hours poring over Hazel's financial records, meticulously scrutinizing every transaction. The withdrawal of $3,000 remained a haunting reminder of the secrets she kept hidden from me. One evening, as Hazel sat across from me at the dinner table, I couldn't shake the gnawing sense of unease that had settled in the pit of my stomach. "Hazel, we need to talk," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil raging within me. She looked up from her plate, her brow furrowing in concern. "What's wrong, Owen? Is everything okay?" I hesitated, the weight of my words hanging heavy in the air. "I found something in your financial records, something that doesn't add up. Why did you withdraw $3,000 without telling me?" Hazel's eyes widened in surprise, her lips parting as if to speak before she quickly composed herself. It's complicated, Owen. I'll explain everything, I promise." But her assurances did little to quell the rising tide of doubt that threatened to engulf me. With a steely resolve, I made the decision to delve deeper into the murky depths of Hazel's secrets. The following day, I contacted a private investigator, determined to unearth the truth lurking beneath the surface of our seemingly idyllic life. As I relayed the details of my suspicions, the investigator listened intently, his expression impassive. "So you want me to gather evidence of your wife's activities?" he asked, his tone matter-of-fact. I nodded, my jaw set in determination. "I need to know the truth, no matter how painful it may be." With a firm handshake, we sealed the deal, and I watched as the investigator disappeared into the shadows, leaving me alone with my thoughts and fears. Days turned into weeks as I waited anxiously for any sign of progress. Each passing moment felt like an eternity, the uncertainty gnawing at my insides until I could bear it no longer. Finally, one fateful afternoon, a call came, breaking the suffocating silence that had enveloped me. It was the investigator, his voice tinged with urgency as he relayed his findings. "We have something," he said, his words sending a shiver down my spine. "Meet me at my office. It's time to confront the truth." Anticipation hung heavy in the air as I made my way to the private investigator's office. With each step, my heart pounded with a mixture of dread and desperation. I needed closure, no matter how painful it might be. As I entered the dimly lit office, the investigator greeted me with a solemn nod. "I have the evidence you requested," he said, his voice low and measured. My hands trembled as he handed me a thick envelope. With trembling fingers, I tore it open, revealing a collection of photographs and documents. Each image was like a dagger to the heart, a brutal reminder of the betrayal that had shattered my world. The investigator's words cut through the silence, his tone grave. Your suspicions were correct, Mr. Robinson. Your wife has been unfaithful. I swallowed hard, the truth sinking in like a lead weight. Show me, I whispered, my voice barely audible. As I flipped through the photographs, my worst fears were confirmed. There she was, Hazel, locked in an embrace with another man. The images burned into my mind, searing a path of devastation through my soul. I'm sorry, Mr. Robinson, the investigator said, his voice tinged with sympathy. I know this isn't easy to hear. But his words fell on deaf ears as I grappled with the harsh reality before me. How could Hazel betray me in such a callous manner? The woman I had loved and trusted for so many years was nothing more than a stranger, a deceitful shadow lurking in the depths of my despair. With a heavy heart, I gathered the evidence, steeling myself for the confrontation that lay ahead. It was time to confront Hazel, to face the truth head-on, and reclaim the shattered remnants of my shattered heart. The drive home was a blur, my mind awash with a tumult of emotions. As I pulled into the driveway, my hands clenched tightly around the steering wheel, I knew that there was no turning back. It was time to confront the woman who had betrayed me, to demand answers and closure in the wake of her infidelity. Hazel, I called out as I entered the house, my voice barely above a whisper. She emerged from the living room, her eyes widening in surprise at the sight of me holding the incriminating evidence in my hands. Oh, and what's wrong? She asked, her voice tinged with concern. I held up the photographs, my hands trembling with rage and disbelief. I know about him, Hazel, I said, my voice trembling with emotion. I know about the other man. The weight of betrayal hung heavy in the air as I stood face to face with Hazel, the evidence of her infidelity clutched tightly in my trembling hands. Anger simmered beneath the surface, fueling the flames of vengeance that burned within me. Hazel, how could you? I demanded, my voice raw with emotion. How could you betray me like this? Hazel's eyes widened in shock, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words escaped her trembling lips. Guilt flickered in her gaze, a painful acknowledgement of the devastation she had wrought upon our marriage. But there was no room for forgiveness, no space for remorse in the wake of her betrayal. With a steely resolve, I made a decision that would forever alter the course of our lives. I want a divorce, I said, my voice cold and unyielding. I want you out of my life for good. The words hung in the air, a bitter testament to the shattered remnants of our once happy union. But mere separation was not enough, not for the pain she had caused, not for the wounds that cut deep into the very fabric of my being. As Hazel recoiled in shock, I felt a flicker of satisfaction, a fleeting moment of vindication in the face of her deceit. But satisfaction alone was not enough. I needed justice, I needed revenge. With a newfound sense of purpose, I began to plot my next move, a move that would strike at the heart of Hazel's betrayal and leave her reeling in its wake. The plan took shape in my mind, each detail meticulously crafted to exact maximum vengeance upon the woman who had shattered my world. I would serve divorce papers to her publicly, at her workplace, a spectacle of humiliation that would leave her exposed and vulnerable for all to see. It was a risky gambit, fraught with potential consequences, but I was willing to risk it all for the sweet taste of revenge. Hazel had crossed a line, and now it was time for her to face the consequences of her actions. As I set the plan into motion, a sense of grim satisfaction settled over me. This was my chance to reclaim control, to wrestle back power from the woman who had taken so much from me. And I would not rest until justice had been served. The morning of the confrontation dawned with a chill in the air, matching the icy resolve that coursed through my veins. With divorce papers clenched tightly in my fist, I made my way to Hazel's workplace, determination burning bright in my eyes. As I entered the bustling lobby of her office building, a hush fell over the room, the weight of anticipation hanging heavy in the air. Colleagues cast furtive glances in my direction, whispers of speculation swirling around me like a tempest. Hazel emerged from the sea of cubicles, her expression shifting from confusion to shock as she caught sight of me standing there, divorce papers in hand. "Oh, and what are you doing here?" she stammered, her voice tinged with panic. I squared my shoulders, meeting her gaze with a steely resolve. "I'm here to serve you with divorce papers," I said, my voice ringing out clear and unwavering. A murmur rippled through the crowd, a chorus of gasps and whispers echoing off the walls. Hazel's cheeks flushed crimson with embarrassment as she realized the gravity of the situation. The weight of her betrayal laid bare for all to see. With trembling hands, I thrust the papers towards her, the rustle of parchment echoing in the silence that enveloped us. "You've betrayed me, Hazel," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "And now it's time to face the consequences of your actions." Tears welled in Hazel's eyes as she reached out to take the papers, her fingers trembling with emotion. "Owen, please," she begged, her voice choked with tears. "Please don't do this." But her pleas fell on deaf ears as I turned on my heel and walked away, leaving Hazel standing there amidst a sea of shocked onlookers. The weight of my decision settled heavily upon me, a bittersweet victory in the wake of her betrayal. As I drove away from her workplace, a sense of grim satisfaction settled over me. I had confronted Hazel, I had faced her betrayal head-on, and now it was time to move forward, to leave behind the wreckage of our shattered marriage and forge a new path, free from the chains of her deceit. The days following the confrontation were a blur of emotions, a tumultuous whirlwind of grief, anger, and bitter resignation. As I struggled to come to terms with the shattered remnants of my marriage, I knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. With the divorce finalized, I found myself standing on the precipice of a new beginning, a chance to rebuild my life from the ashes of the past. But closure remained elusive, a distant dream that seemed forever out of reach. As I sat alone in the empty silence of our once happy home, memories of Hazel haunted me, fragments of a life that no longer existed, a love that had turned to dust. But amidst the pain and heartache, a flicker of hope began to burn within me, a glimmer of light in the darkness that threatened to consume me. With each passing day, I took tentative steps towards healing, seeking solace in the embrace of friends and family who stood by my side through the darkest of times. Their unwavering support buoyed my spirits, giving me the strength to face the challenges that lay ahead. But closure remained elusive, a distant dream that seemed forever out of reach. As I grappled with the wreckage of my shattered marriage, I found myself haunted by the specter of Hazel's betrayal, a wound that refused to heal, a scar that would forever mark my soul. And yet, amidst the pain and heartache, a glimmer of hope began to stir within me, a whisper of possibility in the depths of despair. With each passing day, I took tentative steps towards a brighter future, determined to leave behind the shadows of the past and embrace the promise of tomorrow. As I stood on the threshold of a new beginning, I knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but with courage in my heart and determination in my soul, I faced the future head-on, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what